Good afternoon all. Welcome to the lecture of complex analysis. Okay, so in last lecture we have seen what is the Cauchy's theorem. Yes, what is the statement of Cauchy's theorem? If G be any open subset of the complex plane C and F is a function from G to C, which is analytic on that G, and gamma 1, gamma 2 up to so on, gamma k be any k closed rectifiable curves in G such that index of gamma 1 with respect to point W plus index of gamma 2 with respect to point W plus up to so on index of a curve gamma k with respect to a point W is equal to 0. Then for any A belonging to R, for any A belonging to G minus union over m running from 1 to k gamma m, we have to prove that integration of summation m running from 1 to k integration over the curve gamma m of f will be equal to 0. That one is nothing but our Cauchy's theorem. Now next there is one definition which is nothing but a triangular path. Okay, yes, screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. A closed path T is said to be a triangular path if it is a polygon and it has 3 sides. Okay, so what is a triangular path? It is a closed path. It means its starting and ending point must be same, and it is said to be such a closed path is said to be a triangular path if it is a polygon and it has 3 sides. This will be clear. It has a 3 sides. Polygon means it is a figure which is connected by a line segment. Okay, that is if suppose this will be a first line segment, this will be a second one, this will be a third one, and this one will be a fourth one. So such a figure is called as a polygon. It is a figure which is obtained by joining our line segment, and such a figure is nothing but a polygon. But such a polygon with 3 sides is called as a triangular path. This triangular path, the name triangular path is given since it is somewhat similar to our triangle. Okay, whatever beats, if it has a 3 points and it is connected by the line segment, then such a path is called as a triangular path. Okay. Now, there is one theorem depending on this definition, which is nothing but the Morera's theorem. First, let us see the statement. Let capital G be a region and f from this G to C is a continuous function. It's a continuous function such that integration over the curve or path T of a function f equal to 0 for any triangular path T in G, then f is analytic on G. F is analytic on G. Okay, so here we have just given G be a region and f is a continuous function which is defined on that set G, and integration over the path T, that is closed path T, which is nothing but the triangular path in our given region G, and from that one we have to prove that our given function f is analytic on whole set G. Okay, just we have given f is continuous and we have to prove that f is analytic on G. If we will prove there is one property of analytic function, if it is a continuously differentiable function, then it must be a analytic function. Okay, so if we prove our given small f is a continuously differentiable function, then it must be an analytic on given set G. Okay, so let us see the proof. So here we have G be a region, G be a region, and F from G to C is continuous on set G, and also integration over the curve T of a function F will be equal to 0 for any path that is triangular path T in G, and we know what is a triangular path. Okay, triangular path T in capital G. Okay, and we have to prove that small f is analytic on a set G. Analytic on set G. Okay, for proving small f is analytic on G, here we will define one function capital F, which is also defined on the same domain G. Okay, so let us define a function. Define capital F from G to C, and it is defined by capital F of Z is nothing but integration over the, it is somewhat similar to our closed interval, but this one is not a closed interval, f of w dw. Let us see what is this one, where AZ denotes the line segment joining from the line segment joining from A to Z, from point A to Z. Okay, this one is not a closed interval. This closed interval, it is दिसायला जरी क्लोज इंटरवल सारखं असलं तरी हा क्लोज इंटरवल नाही आहे. हा का डिनोट करतो, एक लाइन सेगमेंट आहे जी की जॉइन करते पॉइंट ए टू पॉइंट झेड ला. Okay, so such a function capital F of Z is nothing but integration over this the path f of w dw, that is this one is nothing but the, it denotes the line segment joining from the point A to point Z. Okay, now that is just to draw a diagram. Suppose this one will be our whole complex number system. Sorry. Okay. Suppose this one is nothing but the whole complex number system. Okay, and here our region G, this will be a region G, and somewhere it's inside our given, that is open ball about A of radius R will be here. Suppose this one will be the open ball about A of radius capital R. It means this A will be the center of this disk. Okay, and having radius will be some capital R, and this radius will be some capital R. Now we will take one point Z naught in this open ball about A of radius R. Let us fix up a point Z naught in open ball about A of radius R, that is in G. If suppose somewhere here is our Z naught. Okay, so take here the point Z naught. Okay, now if we take any point Z is belonging to this open ball, that is Z in G, then for any Z belonging to G, for any Z belonging to G, we have, that is, if suppose somewhere here is our Z here, and this will be nothing but our point Z. Okay, now if we join these points, then we get one path, that is this one is a polygon and it has a 3 sides, then it must be a triangular path. So therefore, for any Z belonging to our capital G, we have a triangular path T, a triangular path T and which is nothing but a triangular path from A to Z, Z to Z0, and Z0 to again A. Okay, so this one is nothing but our given triangular path. Since here we have taken one open ball, having center will be A and having radius will be R, then from that one we have fixed one point Z0 which is in our open ball, and then for any Z belonging to our capital G. Here, as we have to prove that given function f is a analytic on whole sets G. First we will prove this will be analytic on this open ball about A of radius R, and we have chosen this R will be arbitrary. As it is true for this R, then it must be true for any open ball in this G. So here we have taken this Z is belonging to G, that is it is in this open ball. Since we first prove it is true for our given open ball about A of radius R. If it is true for this open ball, then it must be true for any open ball which is contained in set G. As it is true for any point in this G, then it must be analytic on this whole set G also. So from that one, here we have taken Z0, we have fixed up one point Z0 which is in open ball about A of radius R, and this one is nothing but this one. And then for any Z belonging to G, we get one triangular path which is starting from A to Z, Z to Z0, and Z0 to A. Okay. Now we will take integration over this closed path T. Since we have integration over the closed path T will be equal to 0. As we have integration over this closed path, that is triangular path T of a function f is equal to 0. Now, but our triangular path is nothing but A to Z, Z0 to A, and Z0 to E. And we know that if there is a function and which is defined on closed interval A to C, and B is any point in between this C, then we will write this integration as integration from A to B plus integration from B to C of function f. Then by same result, here we will write this given T as, which implies is nothing but A to Z, Z to Z0, and Z0 to A of a function f is equal to 0. Okay, so let us write this one as integration from A to Z of a function f plus integration from Z to Z0 of a function f plus, integration from Z0 to A of a function f will be equal to 0. Okay, so which is nothing but by the definition of capital F, this one is nothing but integration from A to Z, f of w dw is nothing but capital F of Z. Just put that value here, then it is nothing but capital F of w, and which is equal to, now just subtract these two integration on both sides, then we will get this one is nothing but minus of integration Z to Z0 of a function f plus integration from Z0 to A of a function f, it will be equal to, as we have taken this on right hand side, then it is again a negative sign. Okay, again there is one property that integration from A to B f dx is nothing but minus of integration from B to A f dx. So we will use that property. So this one is nothing but integration from Z0 to Z of a function f plus integration from A to Z0 of f. So this will be a capital F, capital F of Z. Okay, now capital F of Z is equal to integration from Z0 to Z f of w dw plus, again this one is nothing but integration from A to Z0 f of w dw by the definition of capital F. This one is nothing but capital F of Z0. Okay, so subtracting capital F of Z0 on both sides, then we will get f of Z minus f of Z0 is nothing but integration over this part Z0 to Z f of w dw. Okay, now multiply both sides by 1 upon Z minus Z0 and subtract small f of Z0, then we will get multiplying both sides by 1 upon Z minus Z0 and subtracting f of Z0, we get, first multiply it by 1 upon Z minus Z0, then it becomes f of Z minus f of Z0 divided by Z minus of z naught. Then we have to subtract small f of z naught, which is equal to integration. Sorry, first we will multiply it by 1 upon z minus z naught. Integration from z naught to z f of w dw, and then minus of f of z naught. Okay. So it can be written as 1 upon z minus of z naught into integration of f of w minus f of z naught dw. So capital F of z minus capital F of z naught divided by z minus z naught minus small f of z naught is equal to 1 upon z minus z naught of integration from f of w minus f of z naught of dw. Okay, now taking modulus on both sides, we get taking modulus on both sides, we get modulus of this one, capital F of z minus capital F of z naught divided by z minus z naught minus small f of z naught equal to modulus of 1 upon z minus of z naught. Sorry, first we will write this modulus as it is 1 upon z minus z naught integration of f of w minus f of z naught of dw. Okay. Now again we know that integration modulus of integration is less equal by integration of modulus. So it is less equal by 1 upon modulus of z minus z naught into integration of modulus of f of w minus f of z naught into modulus of dw. Okay, but we have given that the given function f is a continuous function on a region G. Okay, so we have f is continuous on a whole set G. As it is continuous on G, it means it is continuous at each and every point of this G. So it must be continuous at this Z naught also, which implies f is continuous at a point Z naught in capital G. As it is continuous at a point Z naught in G, then by the definition of continuity, there exists epsilon greater than 0. Sorry, for every epsilon greater than 0, there exists some delta greater than 0, such that modulus of f of w minus f of z naught is less than epsilon whenever modulus of w minus z naught is less than delta, which is just by the definition of continuities, which is by continuity definition. Okay. Now, as our modulus of f of w minus f of z naught is less than epsilon, just put that value in this integral value. Then we will get here there is a path z to z naught. Okay, so which is strictly less than 1 upon modulus of z minus of z naught into integration over the path z to z naught. This will be less than epsilon into modulus of dw. So which is less than epsilon upon modulus of z minus of z naught into integration over this path z to z naught modulus of w. What is the integral value of this one then? Sorry, I think it is z naught to z naught. Somewhere I am missing. Yes, it is z naught to z. Okay, just write here z naught to z. And z naught to z. So what is its integral value?
Z minus Z. Z minus Z.
Z minus Z, that is modulus of Z minus Z naught, which is less than epsilon upon modulus of Z minus Z naught into modulus of Z minus Z naught. This one cancel. So which implies modulus of capital F of Z minus F of Z naught, that is capital F of Z naught, divided by Z minus of Z naught minus small f of Z naught is less than epsilon. Then, as by the definition of, now we will use the definition of limit, which implies as limit Z is tending towards Z naught, modulus of f of Z minus f of Z naught divided by Z minus Z naught minus this small f of Z naught is nothing but 0. That is, this is one limit Z is tending towards the Z naught, capital F of Z minus capital F of Z naught divided by Z minus Z naught equal to small f of Z naught. But what is the LHS?
F dash of
Capital F dash of Z naught is nothing but small f of Z naught. Okay, which implies capital F is differentiable at a point Z naught in open ball about A of radius R. But we have chosen this point Z naught will be arbitrary in our given open ball about A of radius R. Then it must be differentiable on whole the open ball, which implies capital F is differentiable on open ball about A of radius R. But this capital F dash is nothing but small f, which implies, but small f is a continuous function. That one is given, continuous function. So here capital F is a differentiable function and its derivative, which implies f is continuous function. It means capital F dash is also a continuous function. F dash is a continuous function. Okay, in open ball about A of radius R. Small f is continuous on whole G, but here f dash is differentiable in this open ball. Then it, and f dash is equal to f, then it must be continuous in this open ball also and on whole G also. Okay, so here capital F dash is a continuous function in open ball about A of radius R. So capital F is differentiable on open ball and it is, its derivative will be continuous on open ball. Then what is F? Capital F?
analytic.
Capital F is continuously differentiable on open ball about A of radius R. But if any function will be continuously differentiable in its region, then it must be analytic, which implies capital F is analytic in open ball about A of radius R. Okay, so here capital F is analytic in our given open ball about A of radius R. Okay, now here we have chosen this R is arbitrary, but capital R is arbitrary, which implies if we take any R, then also capital F is analytic in this region. It means it is analytic on whole G, which implies capital F is analytic on G. But we have to show that small f is analytic. But there is one consequence of Taylor's theorem. If f from G to C be a analytic function, then it is infinitely differentiable. As it is infinitely differentiable, then its derivative must be continuous. Since it is infinitely differentiable means f dash exists, f double dash exists, f triple dash exists, and so on. It means its every derivative will be continuous. It means this function will be continuously differentiable. As f is analytic on the whole set G, it means capital F dash is also analytic. On a set G. Since if capital F from small f from G to C be any analytic function, then it is infinitely differentiable. Infinitely differentiable means its any order derivative will be exist and it is continuous. If it is continuous, then only it's a higher order derivative will be exist. Okay, so it means capital F is analytic on G. It means capital F is infinitely differentiable. If capital F is infinitely differentiable, then each of its derivative must be analytic on that given region. So capital F dash is also analytic on G, but capital F dash is nothing but small f, which implies small f is analytic on a whole set G. Analytic on G, and that is we have to prove, and hence the required result. Okay, हेच प्रूव्ह करायचं होतं.
Yes, sir.
Yes, कोणाला काही डाऊट यामध्ये?
No, sir.
नक्की ना?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, next there is one definition, or this take it as some note. Okay. A closed rectifiable curve, a closed rectifiable curve gamma, rectifiable curve gamma is said to be analogous to 0 if index of a curve gamma with respect to a point W is equal to 0 for all W belonging to C minus of G. First one, let us define C. A closed rectifiable curve in G. Here take it is in G, and it is said to be analogous to 0 if index of a curve gamma with respect to a point W is equal to 0 for each point W belonging to C minus G, and it is denoted by index of a curve gamma with respect to point W is analogous to 0. Okay, so this will be a symbol. Either we will write index of a curve gamma with respect to point W is analogous to 0, or just write a curve which is analogous to directly 0. Okay, so what is this one? Let us see. Suppose this will be our whole complex number system, and here somewhere our G, and curve gamma is somewhere here. Since it is a closed rectifiable curve in G, so this will be a curve gamma, and if index of a curve gamma with respect to a point W is equal to 0 for each value of W belonging to C minus G, that is W is somewhere here, since it is belonging to C minus G, then we say that the given curve gamma is analogous to a 0. Analogous means it is saman. Okay, it is just nothing but a 0. If index of a curve gamma with respect to point W is equal to 0 for each value of W belonging to C minus G, then we say that the given curve gamma is analogous to 0. म्हणजे हा 0 च्या समान आहे. ओके, ठीक आहे. Yes, कोणाला काही डाऊट?
No, sir.
Okay. Now there is one theorem. First let us see statement. Let capital G be a region. Let G be a region, and F from G to C is an analytic function. Then analytic function on a set G, with the zeros A1, A2 up to so on AM, or repeated according to their multiplicities, accordingly to their multiplicity. Now, if gamma is the closed rectifiable curve in G, is the closed rectifiable occur in capital G which does not passes through any of the points AK, which does not passes through any of the points AK, and our gamma is homologous to 0. That is, index of a curve gamma with respect to point W is equal to 0 for each value of W belonging to C minus G. Then we have to prove that. Then prove that one upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f dash z divided by small f of z dz is nothing but summation k running from 1 to m index of a curve gamma with respect to the point AK. Okay. So here we have given capital GB any region. F is a function, analytic function which is defined on that region G with its zeros A1, A2 up to so on AM, and they are repeated according to their multiplicity. And if gamma is any closed rectifiable curve in G which does not passes through any of the points AK. It means, suppose if we have a complex number system, that is this one will be our complex number system. Somewhere is our region G. This will be a region G. And in between these, there is a curve gamma. This will be a curve gamma. Now, A1, A2 up to so on AK be the zeros of a given function here. And there is one restriction on which this curve and this zero. That is, if gamma is a closed rectifiable curve in G which does not passes through any of the point AK. It means either these AKs are inside the curve or outside the curve, but they are not on the boundary of our given curve. It means AKs are somewhere here. This will be some A1 here, A2 up to so on, some AM will be here, and outside A3, A4, whatever will be. But they are not on our boundary of the given curve, gamma. And gamma is homologous to 0. It means index of a curve gamma with respect to a point W is equal to 0 for each value of W belonging to C minus G. And from that one, we have to prove that 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f dash z divided by f of z dz is nothing but this one, that is summation k running from 1 to m index of a curve gamma with respect to a point AK. Okay. So let us see the proof then. Proof. Okay. So here, first just write whatever will be we have given. That is G be a region. G be a region. And F from G to C is analytic. A1, A2 up to so on AM are the roots of given function, are the roots of given function F, that is zeros of F, and repeated according to their multiplicity. And also we have given gamma is a closed rectifiable curve in G. It means it is closed and its length will be finite, and which holds this condition, that is none of these A1, A2 up to so on AM is belonging to the boundary of our given curve gamma. And also gamma is homologous to 0, and gamma is homologous to 0, that is index of a curve gamma with respect to point W equal to 0 for each W belonging to C minus of G. Okay, and we have to prove that. To prove that 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f dash z divided by f of z dz is nothing but summation k running from 1 to m index of a curve gamma with respect to a point AK. Okay, so just we will use our given things. That is, we have given A1, A2 up to so on AM are the roots of f of z. Okay, so here A1, A2 up to so on AM are the roots of or zeros of f of z. Then by the definition of f of zeros of an analytic function, f of z can be written as z minus a1 into z minus a2 into up to so on z minus am into g of z, where g of ak is not equal to 0 for any k lies between 1 to m. Okay, which is just by the definition of zeros of an analytic function. As a1, a2 up to so on am are the roots of f of z, then f of z must be a multiple of its this one, that is z minus a1 into z minus a2 into up to so on z minus am into some g of z, but g of ak is not equal to 0 for any k lies between 1 to m. But as here f is an analytic function and it is multiplication of these factors, so g of z also analytic, which implies g is analytic on g. Analytic on g, since f is analytic on g. Analytic on g. But again there is one result. If we have proved that in somewhere in any theorem we have proved that g of z has, that is if every non-constant polynomial has a root in C, then we have proved that the g of z must be a constant polynomial. So as this one is a constant polynomial, then it has a no roots. As it has a no root, it means g of z is not equal to 0 for any z belonging to C. Since the f of z has only these roots, that is a1, a2 up to so on am. If there is any root of this g of z, then it must be root of f of z, then which is contradiction to this one. So g of z must be a constant polynomial. Okay, so as g of z is a constant polynomial, which implies g of z has a no root in C, or g of z is not equal to 0 for all z belonging to C and z not equal to ak. Yes, कुणाल काही डाऊट यामध्ये?
नो सर.
g of z ला जर रूट झाला तर तो f of z चा रूट होईल, पण f of z ला रूट आहेतच किती, a1 a2 up to so on am. त्यांची मल्टिप्लिसिटी काहीही असेल पण रूट तेवढेच आहेत. याचा रूट असेल तर याचा होईल. आणखी त्या थिअरम मध्ये आपण ऑलरेडी प्रूव्ह केले की ही कॉन्स्टंट पॉलिनॉमियल असेल. जर ही कॉन्स्टंट पॉलिनॉमियल असेल तर याला कोणताही रूट नसणार आहे. कोणताही रूट नसणार आहे याचा अर्थ g of z is not equal to 0 for any z belonging to C, or our just here our domain will be G. Okay, so for all z belonging to g of z is not equal to 0. Okay, now taking the logarithmic derivative on both side of equation 1, it means first we have to take the log and then we have to differentiate it. Okay, so let us taking the logarithmic derivative of a equation 1, we get, first let us take a log. Here log f of z is equal to log of these terms, z minus a1 into z minus a2 into up to so on z minus am into g of z. But what is log of a into b?
Log a plus log
log a plus log b. Then by this property, this one is nothing but log of z minus a1 plus log of z minus a2 plus up to so on log of z minus of am plus log of g of z. Okay, now we have to take its derivative. If we differentiate this one, what is the derivative of log of f of z? What is the derivative of log? Yes, log x derivative is nothing but 1 by x. Okay, what is the derivative of log x square?
1 upon x square 2x.
1 upon x square into 2x. So what is the derivative of log f of z? 1 upon f of z. And what is the derivative of f of z? It is nothing but f dash of z. So it is nothing but f dash of z divided by f of z, which is equal to, here we have taking the derivative with respect to z. It means this a1 a2 up to so on am are constant, so its derivative is nothing but 1 upon z minus of a1 into 1 plus 1 upon z minus a2 plus up to so on 1 upon z minus of am plus again what is the derivative of log g of z? It is nothing but 1 upon g of z into g dash of z. So it is g dash z divided by g of z. So here we get f dash of z upon f of z is nothing but 1 upon z minus a1 plus 1 upon z minus a2 plus up to so on 1 upon z minus am plus g dash of z divided by g of z. Now f is analytic on g, and from that we have proved that g of z is also analytic, as g is analytic on g, which implies g dash is also analytic on g, which is by the consequence of Taylor's theorem. By consequence 2 of Taylor's theorem. If there is any analytic function, then it is infinitely differentiable. It means its derivative is again analytic. So g is analytic on g, g dash is also analytic on g, and g of z is not equal to 0 for any value of z belonging to g. It means g dash of z upon g of z is also analytic on g, which implies g dash of z divided by g of z is analytic on g, and which is by the algebra of the analytic function. That is, if we have two functions f and g which are analytic, then f upon g is analytic whenever g is not equal to 0. As here our g of z is not equal to 0 and g of z and g dash of z both are analytic, it means g dash of z upon g of z is analytic on whole set g, since g of z is not equal to 0 for all z belonging to our given g. Okay. Now, what is the Cauchy's theorem? First Cauchy's theorem. If there is one analytic function which is defined on open ball about a of radius r, then what is the and gamma be any closed rectifiable curve in that open ball, then what is the integral value of a function f over that closed rectifiable curve?
1 upon 2 pi integration over gamma f of w upon w minus z dw.
हा कॉचीस थेरम हा प्रिव्हियसली झाला, त्याच्या अगोदर कॉचीस थेरम बघितला होता एनालिटिक फंक्शन नंतर. Yes, it is also Cauchy's theorem, but it is in the after the Cauchy's first version and Cauchy's integral formula of first version and second version. Okay, before this we have seen one result, that is Cauchy's integral formula first one, that is f of z is nothing but 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f of z divided by z minus a something, that one. And from that one we have proved one Cauchy's theorem. If f is any analytic function on open ball about a of radius r and gamma is a closed rectifiable curve in this open ball about a of radius r, then the integral value over the curve gamma of a function f is equal to 0. So काहीतरी प्रूव्ह केलं होतं.
Yes sir.
हो ना. f हा जर एनालिटिक फंक्शन असेल एखाद्या ओपन बॉलवर आणि गॅमा हा त्यामधला क्लोज्ड रेक्टिफिएबल कर्व असेल, आणखीन गॅमा हा क्लोज्ड रेक्टिफिएबल कर्व असेल त्या ओपन बॉल मधला, तर त्या क्लोज्ड रेक्टिफिएबल कर्ववर दिलेल्या एनालिटिक फंक्शनचा इंटिग्रल व्हॅल्यू ही 0 असते. Okay, so here g dash of z upon g of z is analytic on g and gamma is a closed rectifiable curve in g. Then by Cauchy's theorem, integral over the curve gamma g dash of z upon g of z is equal to 0. इथपर्यंत कुणाला काही डाऊट?
No sir.
Okay. Now take this one as some equation number 2. Now taking the integration with respect to z on both sides of equation 2 and over the curve gamma. So taking the integration with respect to z over the curve gamma of equation 2, we get integration over the curve gamma f dash of z divided by f of z dz is nothing but integration over the curve gamma 1 upon z minus of a1 plus 1 upon z minus of a2 plus up to so on 1 upon z minus am plus g dash of z divided by g of z dz. Okay, that is, this can be written as integration over the curve gamma 1 upon z minus a1 dz plus integration over the curve gamma 1 upon z minus e2 of dz plus to so on. Integration over the curve gamma 1 upon z minus of am dz plus integration over the curve gamma g dash of z divided by g of z dz. But what is this integral value? Which is nothing but 0, which is from this star. Therefore, from star, which implies integration over the curve gamma f dash of z divided by f of z dz is nothing but integration over the curve gamma dz upon z minus a1 plus z minus of e2 plus to so on integration over the curve gamma dz upon z minus am, which is from star. Okay, so let us take this one as some equation number 3. Now, we know that by the definition of index of a curve with respect to any point A. What is index of a curve with respect to any point A? Which is nothing but the integral value of 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma dz upon z minus 1, z minus a. That one is nothing but index of a curve gamma with respect to a point A. So, index of a curve gamma with respect to a point A is nothing but 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma dz upon z minus of e, which implies integration over the curve gamma dz upon z minus a is nothing but 2 pi I index of a curve gamma with respect to a point A. Let us take this one as a double star. Now use this double star in equation 3. So equation 3 becomes, which implies equation 3 becomes LHS is as it is f dash of z divided by f of z dz is equal to, what is the first integral? This one.
Index with respect to a1.
Index of a curve gamma with respect to a point a1 into 2 pi I plus 2 pi I index of a curve gamma with respect to a point a2 plus up to so on 2 pi I into index of a curve gamma with respect to a point am. Either we have right am or am, yes. Okay, so which is nothing but, take this 2 pi I common, then we get index of a curve gamma with respect to a point a1 plus index of a curve gamma with respect to a point a2 plus up to so on index of a curve gamma with respect to a point am. So it can be written as 2 pi I into summation k running from 1 to m index of a curve gamma with respect to a point am. Sorry, yes, we have taken some, there it is ak. Now just multiply both sides by 1 upon 2 pi I. We get nothing but f dash z divided by f of z dz. So 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f dash of z divided by f of z dz is equal to summation k running from 1 to m index of a curve gamma with respect to a point ak. Okay, his proof होता? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
And that one is nothing but our required result, and hence the proof. Okay, actually this one is nothing but the number of zeros inside our given curve gamma. That one is nothing but our this sum. This value is nothing but actually this 1 upon 2 pi I integration over the curve gamma f dash of z divided by f of z dz equal to this one. It means number of zeros of a function f inside the curve gamma. तेच आहे का? कारण इथं तुम्हाला ओरिएंटेशन तर दिलं नाही, ओरिएंटेशन दिलं नाही याचा अर्थ तुम्ही प्रत्येकाचे इंडेक्स कोणत्या डायरेक्शनने काढणार आहे, अँटी क्लॉकवाईज डायरेक्शनने काढणार आहे. म्हणजे तुम्हाला काय मिळणार आहे, जर त्या दिलेल्या झिरोच्या अराउंड जर मला कर्व मिळत असेल तर त्याची व्हॅल्यू 1 मिळेल, अदरवाईज 0 मिळेल. ओके, -1 तर मिळणार नाही कारण तुम्हाला इथं क्लॉकवाईज आहे का अँटी क्लॉकवाईज आहे माहित नाही. आणि जर अँटी क्लॉकवाईज आणि क्लॉकवाईज मधला जर माहित नसेल तर आपण अँटी क्लॉकवाईज घेतो. म्हणजे याची दोनच पॉसिबल व्हॅल्यू आहेत, एक तर 0 मिळेल किंवा 1 मिळेल. म्हणजे टोटल हा सम काय येईल माझा, नंबर ऑफ झिरोज ऑफ ए गिवन फंक्शन एफ इनसाइड द कर्व गॅमा. म्हणजे जेव्हा जेव्हा या कर्वच्या अंडर माझा एखादा एके मिळेल तेव्हा त्याची व्हॅल्यू 1 मिळेल, अदरवाईज इट इज 0 मिळणार आहे. म्हणजे जर समजा समेशन हा माझा इंडेक्स ऑफ अ कर्व गॅमा विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू पॉईंट एके हा समथिंग जर 5 असेल, टोटल एक एक किती का नंबरचे असेल, पण हा जर सम जर 5 असेल तर याचा अर्थ फक्त इतकाच होतो की दिलेल्या फंक्शन एफ चे 5 जे रूट आहेत ते दिलेल्या कर्वच्या अंडर आहेत. म्हणजे इथे मध्ये कुठेतरी असतील 1 2 3 4 5 हे कुठेतरी माझे 5 झिरो जे आहेत ते दिलेल्या कर्वच्या मध्ये आहेत. आणि बाकीचे जर समजा टोटल जर मला 10 दिलेले असतील तर 5 हे माझे कर्वच्या बाहेर असतील. ठीक आहे.
येस सर.
म्हणजे याची व्हॅल्यू म्हणजे काय मिळणार आहे मला, फक्त दिलेल्या फंक्शन म्हणजे अनालिटिक फंक्शन जो तुमचा एफ असेल त्याचे किती झिरो हे दिलेल्या कर्वच्या अंडर आहेत ते काढणं म्हणजे ही इंटिग्रल व्हॅल्यू काढणं. दुसरं काही काढत नाही. इंटिग्रेशन म्हणजे आता एरिया वगैरे काही निघणार नाही तुम्हाला. ही टोटल 1/2 पाय आहे इंटिग्रल ओव्हर द कर्व गॅमा एफ डॅश ऑफ झेड अपॉन एफ ऑफ झेड डी झेड. हे जर तुम्ही टोटल काढलं तर तुम्हाला काय मिळेल, दिलेल्या फंक्शन एफ चे दिलेल्या कर्वच्या अंडर किती झिरो आहेत हे एवढंच मिळणार आहे. ठीक आहे.
येस सर.
Okay. Now there is one note. If suppose f is analytic on G and f has only one zero, say A with multiplicity m. With multiplicity m. Then f can be written as f of z is nothing but z minus a to the power m into some constant g of z. Where
G of z not equal to 0.
G of a not equal to 0 or g of z is not equal to 0 for all z belonging to G and Z not equal to A. Since there is only one rule. Okay. Again, F is analytic, which implies G is analytic. G is analytic on set G. Now, taking again the logarithmic derivative on both sides. If we take the log, then we get log of small f of Z is equal to log of Z minus A to the power m. And if we apply this log, then it is nothing but log A plus log B. So plus log of g of z, that is it can be written as m into log of z minus a, which is by the property of log a raised to m, log of g of z. Now we have to take its derivative. If we take its derivative, then we will get f dash of z divided by f of z is equal to m upon z minus a plus g dash of z divided by g of z. Again taking the integration on both sides with respect to z over the curve gamma, which implies integration over the curve gamma f dash z divided by f of z dz is nothing but integration over the curve gamma m upon z minus a dz plus integration over the curve gamma g dash of z divided by g of z dz. Okay, what is value of this one? M into
Yes. I index of gamma with respect to A.
Gamma with respect to point A. Plus value of this one is nothing but G is analytic, G dash is analytic. G dash upon G is analytic since G of Z is not equal to 0. Then by Cauchy's theorem it is 0. So which implies index of a curve gamma with respect to f dash of Z by f of Z dz is nothing but 2 pi mi into index of a curve gamma with respect to point A. So actually it is nothing but integration over the curve gamma f dash of z divided by f of z dz is equal to 1 upon 2 pi I into f dash of z divided by f of z dz is equal to m into index of a curve gamma with respect to a point A. Now this has only two possibilities, either it is 0 or 1. If it is 0, then integral value of this one is again 0, and if this is 1, then the multiplicity of given a is nothing but the integral value of this one. Okay, so which is for a single root with multiplicity. Yeah. Okay, so in this if we have only one root and having some multiplicity, then the 1/2 pi integral over the curve gamma f dash of z upon f of z dz is nothing but this one. Okay, फाइंड आउट करू शकता.
यस सर.
लास्ट थेरम वरून एक करोलरी आहे, घ्यायचं की बस? छोटी आहे इथे असणार. घ्यायचं नाही घ्यायचं?
उद्या घ्या सर.
ठीक आहे, सिलेबस नाही संपलं तर फक्त मला सांगायचं नाही बरं. नाही, सिलेबस मी बी संपवायचा प्रयत्न करेन, पण खूप कमी दिवस आहे, बघूया का.